Or you attack other areas like the Eastern
Zone? We'll go to the Eastern. Yes, we'll go to the Eastern.
That is fine.
Zone tomorrow.
Now, what is your appreciation of how the government has run this country so far? How far?
I mean, the verdict is obvious. The verdict is obvious. The NPP has failed. They have failed the people of Ghana completely. In fact, a lot of the support base of the NPP are disappointed in their own government. And I have been in politics for a while, beginning from 2004, and have not seen that huge apathy, even within a ruling party. I have not seen that level as we have seen in this election.
Okay.
And so the verdict of the NPP is complete failure. And they know that they have failed. In fact, Dr. Bawumia's candidacy is just about making a certain statement. It is not about winning the NPP power, even the lives and the conditions of Ghanaians. They know that they are going home in this election, and they think that
that is what you see. Is that the case?
Of course, they themselves are aware. I mean, you must be a novice not to see that the NPP is on their way to opposition.
Maybe there were some underlying factors. For instance, COVID at least shook this country for a while, and some other one or two issues.
Look, we have dealt with COVID for the 2020 election. I don't even want to listen to that again.
Okay.
Because it's one of the reasons why they were able to slip through in 2020. Because the NPP from day one have not been able to live. You bear me witness that President Akufo-Addo had a lot of I have not seen many presidents in this country have that goodwill. But he could not sustain it. The promises upon promises. $1 million. They were going to build factories in every district. I mean, the kind of sweet talk the NPP came up with in the... Even if you were a member of the NDC, you were tempted to believe that, look, this is the savior for Ghana.
Did you expect dams in every village?
I mean, people believed him. Believed President Akufo-Addo. And with the kind of zeal, the confidence he exudes.
I'm wondering the kind of package John Mahama is coming with. Somebody rejected twice. I mean, it's a disapproval that Ghanaian people are not expecting him again.
3 or 4 times. But he won an election. And don't underrate the intelligence of Ghanaians. President Mahama has been in the seat before. And people have seen his performance. If you want to compare President Mahama's performance with that of President Akufo-Addo, President Akufo-Addo pales. He pales. He does not even reflect a shadow of what President Mahama delivered to the people of Ghana.
Is that the case?
Yes.
And he was retained in office. I mean,
that's why I'm telling you that in the 2020 election presented a whole new scenario.
Okay.
Where this government had a lot of influence in terms of revenues for government because of COVID. Just because of COVID, this government had over 20 billion Ghana cedis. 20 billion. They were giving free water, free electricity, sharing COVID money to party people. We have heard about the leak tape of the NPP's candidate for Sanarigu, who said that every constituency officer was given 100,000 or so. And so they had a lot of money to buy votes. But even with that, look at the outcome of the 2020 election. It tells you that they were going to go home.
So the gap is closing gradually.
Not gradually. Now we have overtaken them. It's not about closing gap.
Now I'm just comparing two elections.
The 2016 and the 2020, of course.
So, yeah.
And you know that this was the first term of a sitting president. I hope you understand. And the party. The 2020 election was like NPP has now come to office. Let's see what they can also do if given 2 terms. I mean, they had that kind of space that the typical Ghanaian would want to give to any political party. And so that election presented a whole different scenario. But if you look at the outcome of that election, where in Parliament it was 137. Forget about the seats that they use the military and other means to snatch from the NDC. If you look at the outcome, and you know that Parliament is like the representation of the people. And so the entire country was divided sharply into 2. That should tell you that this is the guard on a certain role to maintain itself in government. And so 2024 should tell you that the NPP is gone. They are completely gone. But I was making a particular point. They wanted to communicate a certain propaganda, which is that the NPP is not against the people of the North, and that they can also have a candidate who is from the North, knowing that that candidate is going home anyway. And so if we are going home, why can't we use that opportunity to make a statement?
But I mean, he was endorsed by the party entirely. If you say they are trying to communicate a particular point to you, I don't get it. The party endorsed the vice president to continue.
His endorsement was not complete and total.
In what sense?
Check that he contested with Kennedy Agyapong. This is not like he contesting with Alan Martin or any of the people that we know who come clean on the sheet. He contested with Kennedy Agyapong. And he struggled to get 60% of the vote. That was a complete rejection by the party.
The gap was wide.
When Kennedy Agyapong got almost 40% of the vote, when they had projected that Bawumia was going to get between 75 to 80%. And so clearly the NPP themselves had rejected him from the word go. So he was just elected to cure that propaganda, not to solve any particular problem. But what is in it? What is the NDC bringing on board? For me, that's the most important thing. And will Ghanaians believe in that ticket? Because as for promises, anybody you agree with me, so that in election people make a whole lot of promises. But how do you see the person making, in the words of the person, that what is being promised will be delivered? Believability of the message is more important
and that should
in
be the
this
focus.
election. Yes, it's more important in this election than any other election. Now, we know President Mahama to be very honest and truthful. When Ghanaians are going through difficulties, he is the man who acknowledges the problems of the country and make attempt, at least, to resolve them. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will never accept that Ghanaians are going through hardship.
Oh, is that the case?
Have you?
I've heard him on some platforms admitting
I
that
have not.
We
heard
admit
him.
that
No,
you are going through
he
challenges.
Said they have done better than even Kwame Nkrumah. Any shortcomings of the government. He said that they have built more roads than 80. And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the head of the economic management team. What has he been able to do? In fact, in this region, he came and promised that they were going to build on the feasibility studies the NDC had conducted on the Pualugu Dam. They came here with the media and everybody and promised, they even cast sword for the construction of the Pualugu Dam. Do you know that Ghana has wasted more than $12 million on that contract, and not even a trip of sand can be located on the at the site? So this is a government you cannot trust.
Some groundworks were done, so I don't know whether it's worth it, the amount of money spent. But some groundworks were done. I
tell you that nothing compared to $12 million has been done at the site. And forget about it. Look at what has happened with the National Cathedral. The world's most expensive hall, which has now been turned into a swimming pool. We spent over $58 million. $58 million. So a lot of the things that they promised Ghanaians was simply a channel for corruption. How can you, as a person who wants to build your own house, contract a supervisor, those that we call foreman, and pay the person upfront when you have not even started foundation? If you have your business, are you going to conduct the business in that manner? That you want to build a factory or you want to build your own house, you contact a foreman who is just going to supervise the workers. And before you dig for foundation, you pay that foreman up to the time that they will finish the construction of your house. Which sane person would do that? But do you know that the supervisor for the National Cathedral has been paid completely? All his money up front, up to the point of the completion of the cathedral, when we have not even finished the foundation. It tells you that the one who is awarding the contract have an interest in that payment. And that is why President Mahama has promised the operation Recover All Loot, the oral operation.
That he will chase after
exactly so
and get those monies.
Yes, because it is one of the avenues of raising revenues in order to conduct the business of government when we win power. Because these guys have stolen so much that it baffles me that a single minister, a minister of state for sanitation, Bola minister, could have a heap of dollars under her bed, to the extent that when the house help decided to pick those monies from under the bed, this minister did not notice that 1 million of that money had gone away until her husband physically met the house help in the room. How many of our business people, I know this region has a lot of businessmen, contractors, who are well-to-do, have made it in life. How many of them would have such amount of money?
So now you are questioning perhaps the impact of that on us as a people of Ghana, the economy. But maybe that's her money. So what is it?
How did she make that money?
Well, you can question that though, but I mean
that is what I'm questioning.
Okay.
How did she make that money? Because we know her as a minister of state. And of course, we know how ministers of state are paid. And this minister was able to keep such an amount of money under her bed. So this, it gives you a reflection of how much they have stolen. And our national chairman has said, he has predicted, and General Mosquito, sometimes I even question myself whether he's a prophet or he has some divine eyes.
What did he say?
He says that when there's a change of government, and Ghanaians decide to march every minister to his house to check and search every minister's household, the monies we will retrieve will be more than what we are seeking from the IMF. And I tell you that it will happen. Because with the operation Recover All Loot, we are going to involve all Ghanaians. If you know any minister of state, any appointee of government who is hiding any money anywhere, when you give that information to government, you will be rewarded. And so I know that
is that what the NDC is asking to do? I mean, is that what they are trying to say they want to do? It is one
of the things that
you want to do
in order to stabilize the economy.
Operation what? Recover
all loot.
Okay.
Operation Recover All Loot.
that
see. Any person.
Yeah, but how would you know that somebody looted money and this money
we know that they have looted money on the Palugu Dam.
Okay.
They paid $12 million to a supposed contractor who did nothing. And nobody will pay such an amount of money to a contractor when that person has no interest in that payment. They paid $58 million to the contractors, not even the main contractors alone, to foremen, supervisors for the National Cathedral, and they did nothing there. They paid $2 million for just feasibility studies for the construction of sky trains, and we never saw any train even on the ground, let alone the ones that will be in the sky. So we know them, and we know that they have looted. They have made huge sums of money at the expense of the Ghanaian people. Can you imagine that between 2021, 2022 and 2023, this government made the Bank of Ghana to print monies in excess of 70 billion just for government spending? Where are all those monies? The monies they've been sharing, the monies they shared in Asinov, they brought monies in V8 vehicles. People were queuing for money before they queued to vote. You saw some of the videos. 200 CD notes, fresh 200 CD notes. Where did they make all those monies? So we know that they have looted. And so accountability is waiting for them. And that is the main reason why they cannot leave office. That's the main reason why they want to break the 8. It's just because of accountability, not for anything. They have nothing again to offer. I'm sure if the NDC has said that, look, just hand over and we'll let the status quo remain, we'll just continue from where you have left off.
Okay.
Akufo-Addo would have been very comfortable to hand over.
So today, everything points to the fact that NDC is winning. Is that what you're saying?
Of course, yes. And because of our message of hope, we have promised that we want to introduce a 24-hour economy policy, which is going to transform this economy. Because the rate of unemployment is rising every day under this government. They inherited a rate of 8%. It is now more than 15%. So we cannot trust that this government can create jobs for Ghanaian people when they are increasing the gap between the employed and the unemployed. And what can we do in order to address this situation? You need a drastic measure to do it. So President Mahama thought through it and looked at other economies in the world and said that we have to introduce a 24-hour economy. And that 24-hour economy is going to allow for 3 persons to do the same job at 3 different times.
Okay.
and get
in fact,
paid
I
for
have
it.
seen Ghanaian people on this social media complaining, and it's like they are punching holes into that policy. I feel like it's not well explained to us. Is that the case?
No, it's people who refuse to understand.
Okay.
Just the statement I made. If anybody says they don't understand, the same job.
Well, we keep
Hold
hearing
on.
different
This
interpretations.
job that you are doing,
Okay.
you are sitting in this seat. This job, we want to find an appropriate means to allow for two other persons to do your job at different times.
Okay.
What is so difficult to understand? You have a business that operates from 8 a.m. and closes some at 3 p.m., some at 5 p.m. Those that even go for some at 8 p.m. The rest of the days, we close the businesses. Now, we are saying that whilst the people retire to their beds, we must have other people doing that same job.
Okay.
So that the business will not sleep.
So, which companies, maybe government institutions, which of them? Let's appreciate them.
Okay, so for example, the passport office works from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you want a passport in Ghana, you have to go for your biometrics or go take a picture, or you want to replace your passport. When you go there at 5:30, they have closed. Why can't the passport office operate 24 hours?
But the Ghana card comes in to fix that problem. So you don't have to walk in there to do this process. But I mean, you just apply.
Who said
just
that?
apply online. Going forward, Bahamian says apply online.
Please,
you walk in there and get your card. Simple as ABCD.
You see, forget about what Bawumia says, because all he says are lies. It is the NDC that introduced the first phase of online application for passport. It is the NDC. Now, there are other human intervention elements in that process. Nobody can sit in his house
That is
and
walking
acquire a
to
passport.
the office.
Exactly. So assuming that you can
walking
even
to the office to do what exactly?
say again,
You just go there and do what?
you go there to capture your biometrics.
Which the Ghana card does all these things.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Even with the Ghana card, do you know that people's Ghana card will be expiring in 2 or 3 years' time? No, I'm asking you. Do you know that the Ghana card expires? And when the card expires, you can't sit in your house and have that same card.
Okay.
Do you know that you still have to
walk
go
in there
and
renew,
verify
and
your
renew.
biometrics? So
Okay.
they should stop. I mean, those kind of fanciful commentary that they make. Nobody can sit in his house and sitting in your house obtain a passport. It is not done that way. There is an online part of the process which reduces human contact. Nobody can sit in his house and acquire a driver's license. Do you know that? That even in the US, nobody sits in his house and acquire a license from the DMV. You must go check your site. So I'm using the passport office as an example.
Okay.
So the passport office can operate for 24 hours, even if you must just go there and pick your passport.
Okay.
So
Somebody
that
should
people,
be there in the night.
exactly, so that you are seated this morning. We are having an engagement.
Yeah.
There are other things you may want to do within the day. That time may not allow you because of the kind of work you do. It should be possible that you can access that service, which some other persons are accessing in the morning whilst you are at work. And that is what the 24-hour economy, one of the reasons.
Okay.
The main reason for the 24-hour economy policy is to create employment, so that those at the passport office who will close at 5 p.m., there will be another person who has been employed to continue up to the morning before the one who came in the morning will come back.
I don't know whether the party has pegged a number of employment that it can create. Have you gotten a particular number that, okay, this policy is come to create this number of jobs? Have you done that?
We know that it's going to create a good number of jobs. And it will be very difficult to put numbers to it, because the 24-hour economy policy is not a compulsory economic policy, because it involves the private sector. The private sector businesses must voluntarily
subscribe to that
onto the program.
Okay.
And if you log onto the program, for example, if Dreams FM decide that they will give 1 a.m. news, I don't know if you do. Do you do that
in the morning?
No, 1 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah,
you give news at 1 a.m.
Yeah, we do.
5 a.m.
It is 7 in the morning.
No, I'm saying 1 a.m. Do you give news at 1 a.m.?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay. So, for example, if you decide that by 1 a.m. You would be operating so that you have other people employed as newscasters and reporters to give news at 1 a.m. So that those who might have been sleeping in the morning and did not get the news and are going to work in the night will also get the news. Your electricity bill will be reduced for you, so that you pay lesser electricity compared to other radio stations. And so that will be an incentive that will get Dreams FM to say that we want to come on board the 24-hour economy policy. And the moment you start doing that, you will see that your competitors will be going down.
Okay.
And so you see that the effect of that, that may also get them along.
Okay.
So if there are people who are going to work in the night, then it means that giving news at dawn, at odd hours, will be worth it. See how CNN 24/7, they are giving news every hour, every day. Why? Because in those economies, whilst people are sleeping, others are going to work, and so people will listen to the news.
Okay.
So that is how the 24-hour economy is going to operate.
I see.
Secondly, if Dreams FM decides that you will operate with your newscasters at certain hours that you don't normally operate with, government is going to reduce your taxes for you. Your corporate income tax that you pay will be reduced.
Okay.
And so it will be an incentive for you to employ more presenters, more newscasters. So that's an avenue of creating jobs.
I see.
So that is what the 24-hour economy policy is going to do. For an example, a baker who bakes bread. If a baker decides to join the 24-hour economy policy, it means that he's not going to close the bakery. The bakery is going to operate 24 hours. So whilst he employs more hands, he will need more input.
Okay.
The flour, the margarine, the oil, the sugar has to be increased. So what happens? The suppliers will have to supply more. Also increase hands that operate. So that's why the TUC, the Trade Union Congress, described the 24-hour economy policy as the game changer.
I see.
As the game changer.
Okay.
Now, secondly, beyond that, what is government still going to do in terms of employment creation? We have the free SHS. You know about that. We have promised that we want to review and improve it by removing the double track system, by improving the feeding system, making sure that the matrons, the bearers, and the headmasters go to market themselves, buy the foodstuffs and cook for.
Double track is feeding off gradually.
No, please.
So I know here in the upper, some schools are no more enjoying doing the double track.
No, please.
Oh, you mean no school
Let me
today?
tell you, they have turned the double track into another thing, but it's still the double track.
Which is?
Okay. Majority of secondary schools in Ghana does not have all the 3 streams of students in school at any point in time. You can check. As we speak now, Form 1s are now going to school. Form 1s, they were staying in, and only Form 2s and Form 3s were in school. Check. At no that you would find secondary schools having Form 1s, Form 2s, Form 3s on campus.
All in school.
Yes. And that is, I knew my mates, my juniors, all Form 1s, I knew them. Can't leave them in school.
I see. hold on for me.
So
Hold on
let
for
me let me. I was going to something when you asked me this question.
Quick one.
So we are removing the double track. To subvention that government gives to public schools, all private secondary schools that are willing to take that same amount, we will offload some of the students who are willing to go to private schools to those schools. And we will continue with the abandoned project in all secondary schools, complete the E-blocks, and get all streams on board. Also, we are going to cut off that corrupt deal of getting the buffer stock to supply food to the schools through contractors who they don't pay, and eventually the contractors do not supply. Government will give the money to the beggars, the matrons, and the headmasters to do it.
What is your reaction
when we
to
do this?
What is your reaction to people who say that you have no idea on free senior high?
Let me end this. Okay. When I finish, those people will not even ask that question again, because I'm giving you the solution.
Okay.
Now, when we end the double track and recalibrate the feeding system in the schools, you would see that the free SHS would come and settle. Okay. Again, we also want to establish a reliable source of funding for free SHS and not leave it at the mercy of the finance minister, where the finance minister decides how much he wants to release to the schools. And if those releases does not go, then it becomes a major problem for the schools. When this is done, we also want to introduce a free first year tertiary education, where those who are going to colleges of education, nursing training, technical universities, and all public universities would go to school level 100, entry fees free of charge. One of tertiary education has become free. What about those who, not by their making, cannot make it to school?
Disabled.
There are people not even the disabled.
Okay.
There are people you put to school and their soul does not even gel with education.
Okay.
They may want to learn a trade. What is in the National Apprenticeship Program?
Okay.
That if we are giving free education to people who are willing to go to school, we should give free skills training to people who are willing to learn a trade.